If it's cold and raining, and you're really in a bind, and you need a shelter, start by building a rectangular frame from logs. Fill the frame with debris, such as dried leaves, branches, or pine boughs. The debris will provide insulation that prevents the ground from drawing heat away from your body. This is extremely important, as most body heat is lost through ground transfer. A lean-to style shelter is the best. You make a lean-to by lashing simple cross poles between trees. Add several more saplings across it at a 45-degree angle to the ground on one side towards the wind. Then weave in horizontal vines or cuttings. Once you have a covering to protect from snow or rain, to keep your warmth in, huddle together with your fellow hunters. Keeping your core temperature from dropping is essential. Hypothermia is the cause of at least 1,500 deaths a year in the United States.
Why do a bear hunt in Alaska is a very fair question to be asking.
You can get eaten real quick if you make mistakes, and for me, that's awesome.
There's no roads, there's no humanity, there's nothing.
It's the last frontier. It's one of the deadliest predators on the planet.
I love that stuff. It's what I live for. I kind of like my life being in risk.
Great adventure starts with a great cup of coffee. I have to lead by example in that regard.
4 vets, 2 guides, kind of seeing what happens over the course of 15 days in the Alaskan wilderness.
Yeah, I was sitting in a tree stand on a 3-day drunk, wind blowing 45, the temp was 30 below, I was freezing to death, and then it started to snow. So I got down from the tree stand and started headed for the tent. And that's when I see him there, 13-footer. You're supposed to echo that, 13-footer. Yep, with every step there was a shaking of the ground.
Shaking of the ground?
Yep. And that's when I see him there, the 13-pointer. 30-pointer. Hey, do you want my pad?
No.
You can have my pad if you want.
I don't want it.
Oh shit, I got an extra pad on my behind my pack. I do. You want that one?
No, you had 2 gloves this whole time. It's a little bit chilly.
Yeah, it's
72 and Sunday. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's super harsh. Like, it looks nice and forgiving, but once you get down into it, it's not at all.
Yeah, it was like living in a National Geographic like TV show. It's the climate. It's just fucking brutal up there.
It's brutal. It's amazing. Always windy, always wet, always cold.
Sometimes like, we get like 40-mile-an-hour gusts of winds with like just sleet rain, and it's just shooting you in the face. You're just kind of have your entire body covered in Gore-Tex with your little mouth hole, and you're just sitting there like.
We got 2 tarps now. How lucky are we?
Good thing is that isn't a rainstorm coming in right there, so we should probably get off our asses and make another lean-to.
It's actually a really beautiful day. It's the earth is supplying us with lots of oxygen, so there's not any problem for us breathing. It's really nice. It's cool and refreshing. So it's definitely not too hot. That's the nice thing about Alaska. Man, this is great. I'm having a great time. I love it.
Hey, get this fucking camera right now. We'll take us back to camp. We didn't quit. We were like, let's stay out.
Well, you guys was drinking alcohol.
But then he did say, let's drink whiskey and get warm. I'm like,
Well, how are we supposed to choose?
right. Just saying.
So we ended up not going with like the proper wader boots
Yes.
that we needed.
So your feet were all wet.
We had waders and wader boots brought in, and we ended up wearing them every day. And thank God we had them. Like, thank God we had them, because
You would have never been dry the whole time you're
Yeah.
there. I mean, it's too cold for shit to dry out.
You know what? We got put on the bear yesterday. That was fun. It was a no-shooter, but good times. This sticks to the bottom of your shoe?
You put it on the bottom of your sock.
Oh, shit. Not gonna lie. My toes were cold yesterday.
It's all right. Grounds are too coarse.
Oh, dude, I'm so tired after like 8 hours only on the mountain.
It's an interesting psychological component because There's all these societal things that we take for granted every single day, whether that's cell service, running water, the whole nine. And for me, it took about a day to acclimate to not having anything. And I purposely didn't bring my phone. I just left it back because we don't have cell service, obviously. It's challenging the first day or two because a lot of the times you have to be quiet up there glassing on the mountain and you're just left to your own thoughts and your own devices. And it's very healing, honestly.
One of the things that I was classically trained to do was to sit in a hide and do nothing, do not move all day and just look through glass. So if anything, it was more reminiscent of a lifestyle that I used to do. And at the same time, like, you start thinking about all those things and all this old habit starts coming back and all these old things. Like, oh yeah, I used to do this for a living.
So there's a smaller bear that we saw 2 days ago that we almost shot. It's down by our bear camp. She was walking down to the creek.
That's the thing about like these kind of bears, the way like that bear was the other day, and this one, like they're in that in-between stage. They're like super confusing to see just exactly what they are.
Well, I think considering yesterday
It was 40-mile-an-hour winds.
40 plus mile an hour winds.
We had to retreat.
We were tents were blown over and ripping. Not a bear. We didn't see one bear yesterday. And the weather went from like decently cold to fucking sunshine. I mean, we're picnicking right now. I'm beating beef jerky. Evan Hafer's going to get us water. Straight out of, where'd you get it, the spring?
Yeah. Straight out of the spring.
Unfiltered. You didn't get too much cider in there. You got a little
of that.
It's a good Alaskan High. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Crystal clear, pure, zero chlorine.
Yeah, nothing.
It's amazing.
Especially coming out of this with the weather temp, it's like perfectly. It's not cold where it like hurts your teeth. it's like it's
perfect.
That's a good glass of water.
It's like exactly what water is supposed to be. This is what my body wants. This.
Yeah.
When I think of water.
Gracias, mi amigo.
Gracias, mi amigo.
Evan Hafer. This is really good water.
We started seeing more bears. We started seeing a lot more bears, and then we started understanding the size of the bear in the optic. Like, what do they actually look like? Because the other thing was like, the color of the bear would vary.
Right.
Between, was it a female? Was it a male? Had they just come out of hibernation? Like, what did their bodies look like?
It was interesting because it took me a second to be like, oh, this giant thing is that far away. And I think the first one we saw was 2 miles away.
We got a big bear working up valley, where winds are kind of blowing over towards his direction.
Wow.
That's a big boy.
Yeah, coming from that first sow we looked at and seeing the size differential on a big boar to include the coat. I mean, this thing's walking like a fucking gorilla.
For the last 200 yards, he's been moving directly at us ever since we spotted him.
Nice.
And big, brown, deep coat.
We put this bear in our sights. Cole was like, this is a runt. This is a horrible bear.
It's a fucking monster. And he's like, yeah, no. We wanted boars, like older, more mature.
The ones that are fucking things up.
Yeah. And so that was a good learning lesson for us.
We're in day 6 and nobody's got a bear yet. Per, just a little bit of simple math there, we should have gotten at least 1 bear in order for all 3 of us to be successful. So everything got a little bit more serious. There was a little bit of a tonal shift in attitude because of the fact that, we had a chance and we were unsuccessful. It wasn't the bear that we were looking for. And we just kept asking Cole, and he's like, never once have I seen that dude like truly worried. He's very confident in his abilities, even in the current situations we were in.
Just got to the top of the mountain. Evan got a little hot during DC doing. It's actually a beautiful sunny day today, so we're up at the hilltop now. We got the guys down here that are checking out where we saw that bear hopefully bed down last night, so we're gonna class out there and here. Last night was a good night of sleep, and shit, man, we're ready to spot and stalk.
They were bearded like Crusoe, pallid as anemic women, and speckled with insect bites, he wrote. These men said that where they had been working, the sun never shone, for his light was stopped on the unbroken green which, except where the big rivers flowed, roofed the whole land. Nicknamed Mad Maria by the engineers who designed it, the railroad took 5 years to finish, and by the time it was ready in 1912, the South American rubber trade had gone bust, and the estimated 6,000 men who had died of disease and starvation trying to build it had lost their lives for nothing. For Roosevelt, South America's vast, largely unknown and unexplored interior was perhaps the most important factor of all.
It's just moving left to right back there. Trying to see. He's behind the brush. I can't see him right now, but just trying to keep track of him a little bit.
What is our wind situation like?
It's not good. It's just kind of flopping around right now. But it's supposed to be coming out of the northwest eventually. But then we also, because it's really light winds, we still have winds blowing in from the Bering Sea up here.
It's crazy how fast the winds change here. Well, that's a wrap of day 6. We had a lot of activity early on, and then we had nothing all day, but we did see some big boars moving, and it looks like a couple are bedding down here, so we're gonna reposition in the morning, come back here most likely, and then see if we might go find where they're bedded down and make a move. We'll see. Everything's theoretical and hypothetical until we're in it tomorrow.
We were gonna go up to our usual glassing spot, see if we could see it, and then just move on it immediately.
Shoot this bear, shoot this bear.
And it kind of went to plan.